Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to another edition of Sports in the Mix with the crew. And I am so glad to have you with me on today, Andrea George Carrington. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Cedric. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Somebody's been messing with my computer, and I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on. You know what? You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. You might need to call Raul and tell him that one of these Cowboys haters is up here messing with me right now, and I'm trying to protect you. And they look now. Look at this.
And here's
what
why.
are they
So
doing?
Why? See, why you gonna open our
Why?
show?
Why? Hold it. There go your quarterback right there. You didn't see that?
I saw it. I saw all of it.
They even freeze it. I mean, if they throw the ball to you, your hand's supposed to be like this, but they turn like, oh, now he's busting up helmets. Come on, George.
It's just one game.
Oh, man.
Considering, they were projected to be, 54% chance to win. That was, I can imagine. I'd be throwing my helmet too. You got to blow that out. But, I still watched to the end. Don't you even laugh. Your Raiders lost too. So what did we say? We say we were not going to talk about each other's team on the show. And you opened the show talking about my beloved Cowboys. Forget you said. Raiders lost too.
Now, yeah, that's why I'm in mourning right now. Hold on a second. Let me get it together.
Mourning nothing, being messy right now. Oh Lord, Ray Charles, here we go.
Can we just talk basketball? Let's talk WNBA basketball.
Let's go back to the WNBA. That's how we open our show every week. But you shady. You open up with, not only did you open up talking about the Cowboys, you played a video of the drop pass. You're just wrong. You was just wrong.
So what did Raul say? What did he say? No comment. But anyway.
He's putting shoe boxes together.
Well, let's see. Let's talk about Paige Bueckers.
Yeah. Congratulations.
The rookie of the year. Now, you know what I want to know? She got 72. She got 70 of 72 votes. I want to know, well, who were the people who did not vote for her? That's what I want to know.
I do know
we don't need to know who they are. But
well, I don't know. I don't know who they are, but I know the reason why there were two, because the person voiced his opinion was because they felt like Citron would have been a better choice because her team was winning. She helped her team start to win. So, people don't just look at individual accolades. Sometimes they look at how you helped your team to progress forward, because Washington they went on a run there for a second, and she was a major part. So you're always going to have those that would have rather seen someone else over Paige, but Paige earned that. She earned to be the worst team in the league and then to be the rookie of the year. I mean, she earned that. She earned it in every way. Her stats speaks for themselves. So
yeah,
that's why she's.
Well, I can I at least show a little of her highlights? So
yes.
Can I just at least show that, since I'm showing those now? I want to show some highlights so they can check it out. Her game and what she was able to do, and she hit the shots. But you was there when they played against the Fever in Dallas, and hit the shot, and everybody went crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here it is. Check it. Hey.
Love the spirit tunnel. So the woman on the right there, if you look closely, that's WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert.
That was so cool.
She said to Bueckers, Bet I'm the last person you thought you'd see. She was there, of course, too.
Oh yeah, that was on NBC just the other day, last week. So,
yeah, that's the Jennifer Hudson Show. I love that cheer line, spirit line that they have their guests come through every game. You know, her show won all kinds of rewards because of that. That is just something unique. It's original, and every guest comes through that line dancing, doing their own little thing. But it was good to see her. She's such a real person. She's the people's choice. She's a people's person. She caters and she attracts every everybody, not only young girls, but even men, older adults. She attracts everybody across the board. She doesn't have just a limited clientele, and I think not clientele, but a limited fan base. She doesn't have just a limited fan base. She has everybody all across the board, and that's why I believe she won it. She is the people's choice.
All right. Well, I'm glad. And by the way, I got to ask you a question. Has anybody ever asked you why you want to cover the WNBA? Because this is your first season to be able to do it from start to finish. Why the W, Andrea?
Well, I studied journalism as in college as like a second, third degree, because I went to school. I stayed in school when I went to college. I went to summer. I liked going to school, and plus I played basketball, so we had to stay ahead. But I got into journalism because, people used to always say, "You tell good stories. We like to hear your stories. You tell good stories." And so I got that opportunity. When we first met, we were doing Fitsational way back in the day, and we did the Big 12. When South Carolina won their first championship when it was at Dallas, when we were down at American Airlines. And I got an opportunity to be amongst that arena and interviewing. And I can just remember being nervous sitting in there and everything. And but I knew it was something I wanted to do. And then, of course, life happened. I had to take a back seat to my career and, raise a young man that is now in the NBA. And so now that he's 21 and I'm free, I wanted to get back into journalism. And it just so happened at the right time, you guys reached out and asked me if I'd be interested. And I kind of, on social, I always tell the stories on social, and I always knew that people enjoyed the positive side. That's what they would say. We really enjoy your positive spin on whatever's going on, basketball, football. I try to cover every sport across the board on social media because there's so much negative out there. I just always try to keep it clean and keep it positive. And, so when we got the opportunity to do the W, I was more and more excited because the story of the W needs to be told. And being one of the original divas of women's basketball, class of 77, we got women's basketball in 76, which I was a junior. So I had 2 years of high school basketball. So I was a late bloomer. And I played on the defensive end of the court. So if you were a defender, you wasn't going nowhere. Wasn't nobody looking at you. At that time, it was if you were a shooter, like the Nancy Liebermans and the Ann Myers and, all of Barbara Walker and all those girls at that time, they were shooters. So they got those opportunities. But I say that to say, being the original group, I have a story to tell. And by going to these games and being involved in the W, I can look at where it is now and I can tell the story and I can communicate about the game in a way where average people can understand. And I think it's very important that I write in a way that's not controversial. I try to write in a way or present journalism in a way that doesn't allow you an opportunity to be controversial, because you can't fight. Well, you can fight, but you shouldn't fight positive messages. And if you come back at me on something that I said positive, like this one person said, why are you always so positive? I'm just a positive person. Why your messages are always so peaceful? Because I'm at peace, So I felt like in my journalism journey that I could provide a perspective on the game of basketball that, this generation can't provide. There's not a generation that can provide more information about the game of basketball than my generation, because I lived it. I was the original. I lived it. I played it. My daughter played it. Now my grandson is playing it. So ever since I was in the 3rd grade, I have always been involved in basketball. And that's a long history of basketball. And like I said, there's people that try to talk basketball on social media, whatever. So sometimes when I can break down the perspective, like, why people think such call should go such way. And, I'll be able to ask the question, how much do you know about basketball? Did you play basketball? You have everybody in your family. So I think being able to educate people on the game of basketball, not just the X's and O's, but the rules and the regulations. And then, introducing players that are not well known to the public. As we see, there's a lot of league. Indiana is a perfect example. Everybody thought that Indiana would not survive without Caitlin Clark. But look where Indiana is. They won their first game in the 2nd round. So
well, hold that thought, because we got to talk about that. And I was sitting here listening to you, and I want people to understand how much. See, you are a trendsetter in the game, okay? Because, and I'm going to share my screen again. There were 2 states that were left to play basketball the way that they did back in the day. That was the state of Iowa and the state of Oklahoma. They did it was like this. It was 6-on-6
in the country.
That's it.
And so you see right here, as I'm sharing the screen with you during that time period, the guards had to dribble the ball across the court. 3 guards on one side, and you had 3 guards on the other side. The opponent did. Then you had to go. Their guards had to go up against the forward. Now, if you really want to know how crazy the game was back then, when they first started women playing basketball, the only thing you could do was dribble the ball 2 times, 1 time, 1,
right.
1, 2. That's it.
And pass it across the line. It had to go across the line.
Yes. That's how you had to do that.
Yes, you had. If that ball was on that third by count 3, it had to be across the line. You could not take another dribble on our side of the court, or you could not pass it to another teammate on our side of the court. It had to go across the line. And if you stepped on that line or fell on that line, then that was a penalty on our team.
Yeah.
That was that taught self-control, passing, because we had to pass the ball. My game came from being able to pass the ball. I wasn't taking no dribble. Once the ball came in bounds, I made that long, and my sister was on the other end. So, we already practiced this at home. I get the ball, I get the inbounds, and I just make one long pass down to my sister under the basket. And we, and then I had to get at that line to try to defend the ball from coming over. It was kind of like volleyball, where you had to defend, the ball from coming over. And, that was some good basketball. And like you said, Oklahoma did not change their rule.
It went until like 1987,
Right, because I was even out of college and we played. There was like a semi-pro league of, there were corporations back when I got out of college in 81, 82 that had teams. And I played for the Texas Instrument team. But we would go to Oklahoma and we would play half court. And I was surprised because I had transitioned from high school to junior college on a scholarship in junior college, which was a surprise because I'd never shot the ball before. And then on to Stephen F. Austin, which became more of an educational component under Sue Gunter. And then to come back in the summer and then go back to playing half court again, that was very interesting. But yes, I grew up under every phase of basketball I have been involved in. And it's exciting to see where it is today.
Well, amazing. And, you know, when you say Sue Gunter, I'm going to just show another thing on the screen right now because we're breaking it down, Andrea, and we have to let everybody know about the importance of the game right here. As you're seeing the screen right here of all these people, because down there in Texas, they got a program to honor her in Nacogdoches, Texas, at Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
And what she was able to do to the game, she was an incredible individual, and she was able to get a lot of things done back during that time period when she coached basketball. So it's just that she came ahead of the game, Andrea, at a time where, you know, the game has changed now. So you look at the talent and you see what's out there, you know, for what Sue Gunter did. And I'm going to, you know, she didn't play. She was all about business. You know what I mean?
She was all about business. And, you know, the thing about Sue Gunter and my relationship with Coach, you know, I played at Weatherford Junior College, Betty Jo Crum, and Betty Jo Crum and Sue Gunter were best friends. And so coming out of junior college, you know, not being a shooter, and literally in junior college, I never shot the ball either. My role, I played point guard, and my role was to feed the post. That's when point guards didn't shoot the ball. We fed the post. And that's even if I got the rebound and went on the fast break, I pulled out and waited on the post to cut the lane. You know, people think it's funny when my grandson thinks it's hilarious when I tell him that I never scored a point in college. He can't even, I know he can't fathom that at all. But he used to just like laugh, you know, and I used to explain to him, you know, I was a defender. And then when I took him to my mom's house in Weatherford, I showed him my Weatherford High School letter jacket that had all defensive patches all up and down. You know, in 2 years of basketball, I had every defensive patch there was. But so I wanted to go to Stephen F. Austin. My friends were there. They ran track and things like that. And I wanted to go there. I knew I wasn't going to be able to go anywhere else and play basketball. So that was a matter of Betty Jo Crum contacting Sue Gunter and said, hey, her mom's going to drive her down to Stephen F. Austin, give her, you know, just give her a tryout. Well, ended up.
Hold that thought, Andrea. I got to hit this break right quick because you got something to say. And we got to get the rest of this. So listen, for those of you that are checking us out, you are, of course, hearing from Andrea George Carrington, and we're kind of reflecting a little bit about the history of basketball. Before it was a W, the game has changed so much. When we come back, we got more. So keep it right here on Sports in the Mix with the crew, Andrea George Carrington hanging out with us right here with yours truly, Cedric Bailey. We'll be right back.